Hello everybody, my name is Tom Vassell. Welcome to Live Q&A, July 24th, 2017. Since the internet is still wonky at our studio, and we have figured out what the problem is, they're supposed to have a technician having fixed it within the next 24 hours, so we can hope that this is the last time you're here in this place. Since I'm at home, I do not have the microphones or the lighting that I would have at the studio because, well, they're all over there, and I didn't want to drag them all home. But I didn't want to skip the Q&A either, so I'm here, I'm ready to talk, answer questions. So if you have any questions, just ask them in the comments, and I'll do my best to get to answer them. All right, so let's get going here. What's my favorite game? Well, I'm going to hold off on that one, not because it's that big of a secret, really, but because we're going to be starting our top 100 games of all times in just a few weeks. What do you think of the 13th Doctor being a woman? Says Endgame. I think it's fine. I thought the current Doctor was okay. I don't like him as much as I liked. My favorite Doctor still David Tennant and then Matt Smith. And then the new Doctor was good. I didn't think he was fantastic. So I'm interested in seeing the new Doctor to see how they are. I'm always interested when there's a change in Doctors. Did you see the new Stranger Things trailer? I did. It's super creepy, isn't it? Super creepy. I thought the original was creepy. Do Pandemic Legacy 2 Season 2. I'd love to, but I don't have the game. This kind of sound or lighting, says Rainer, is just fine for Q&A. Well, maybe so, but I promise you there's to be somebody who will comment negatively on the video. It happens every time. Like, I thought you guys were getting better. Well, we're trying to get better, but this is just kind of a quick fix type thing. I think we can go without the hat today. What do you think the biggest change in board gaming will be over the next 20 years? I'm not even going to guess that. And I'll tell you why I won't guess that, because I don't know what's going to happen in the next 20 years. I would never have guessed the internet when I was a kid, that the internet would exist and be as useful as it was. How that was a huge change. I would never have guessed Kickstarter. So I really couldn't guess the next biggest change. How do your kids like Werewords? I don't think I've played it with my kids yet, have I? I don't think so. Are you going to review Dice Forge? Well, that's convenient. It's going up tomorrow. You'll see our review then. You said last week you're going to review Photosynthesis. Is that still coming soon? Well, I'd like to, but my copy of Photosynthesis is stuck in limbo currently at Dice Tower Con, along with a lot of my other games. If you notice the shelves at my studio, if you watch any of my recent reviews and things, there's a lot of empty spaces because I sent a lot of my games to Dice Tower Con, and they have not yet returned. I'll be moving across the country soon. What is the best way to ship a large number of games safely? I wouldn't know about that. If it was me, I'd probably hire someone to take them, I guess. Are you going to get back at Jason for his La La Land prank? I don't think so. I do play practical jokes in Jason, but they're very, very minor things. I don't know that I would do anything big. I don't know. I just haven't done a really big practical joke in years anyway. Oh, I have one that I'm going to do, but I might wait another 5 years before I do it. When you sign up board games, you use a Sharpie. Yes. Do they smear? Not if you let them dry first. What works best? I don't know. I just buy Sharpies. I try not to sign too many board games, really. I always find it weird that people want me to write on a board game, but people like it. When are you doing Pandemic Legacy Season 2? When I get it. We haven't got it yet, and I actually don't have a timeline of when it's coming in. What are you looking forward to most at Gen Con 50? You know, I don't know that I'm looking forward to anything most. I think I'm just looking forward to having a good time and seeing the mounds of people that come in. I think our show I'm looking forward to most. What Broadway play would you like to use as IP for a board game? Oh, I'm not really up to date on Broadway plays. I know my musicals a little bit, not even that much. But plays I know nothing about. What kind of garbage recycling volume do you guys go through over at the studio? Shipping boxes, packing materials, punch cardboard, shrink wrap, etc. Our recycling comes every other week. and we usually have a full recycling can for them, and then the garbage comes twice a week, and we fill that up pretty quickly too. There's a lot of recyclables, but the recycling cans are pretty big, so it's not overwhelming. I guess it would be overwhelming if we got a ton, like when we moved in. That took several weeks for a lot of that stuff to go away. Which recent new designer are you most excited to see more games from? Probably Emerson Matsuuchi. I just think he's really great. Tom Baker was the best Doctor Who, says this person. Well, maybe. I just have a hard time getting into the old Doctor Who's. Give a review for One Night Alien? Not yet. What was your favorite game as a child? Well, it was different at every age. So we'll just pick, for the longest period, it was probably Stratego. Did you like Spider-Man Homecoming? Yes, I really enjoyed that. There has yet to been a Marvel movie in the last decade that I have not liked. What are the good, bad, and lessons learned in starting a new game group? I don't know that I've ever started a new game group. Just wherever I've gone, I just kind of morphed into whatever game group was there. I started one other thing. I don't know, just be prepared to not play games. You're going to be teaching them a lot, and don't be disappointed when not a lot of people come. How do I stop my mom from playing Mahjong and playing something better? Well, maybe she doesn't think Mahjong is, maybe there's nothing better for her. I wouldn't even try to get her out of it if she really likes playing it. Why not let her play a game she enjoys? Sorry. The YouTube keeps jumping. I'm going to pop out the chat. Maybe that will help a little bit. I apologize about that. Okay. What game would you like to play with your ex-arch enemy, Paulo Mori? I haven't actually met him, so I don't know what kind of games he would want to play. I'm surprised I haven't met him. You think I would have run into him at Essen at some point. Let's see here. Do you think the size, number of components, and price hurt the possibility of an expansion for Caverna? I heard that there's one in the works, actually, so who knows? I'm having a homemade overnight pseudo board game convention for my birthday next month. Any suggestions that would be a clever thing to make it extra fun? I wouldn't even try to be clever. Just have a great time. Maybe make a cake that has board game pieces, but I really wouldn't go out of my way. Just have fun. Make it as fun as you can. What's the next top 10 list? The next top 10 list is next week, and it's going to be our top 10 anticipated games from Gen Con. Going to Orlando, Florida soon. Any great spots to check out? There's like a zillion things in Orlando, Florida. So I don't think I'm the best authority on it. We really like Universal Studios. The water parks there are really fun. Have you seen Dunkirk yet? I have not. Care to share with everyone why the Dice Tower Cruise is sharing a boat with the first annual children who need help going to school convention? I don't actually understand that. I apologize. Is that a joke, or is that really someone we're sharing with? I haven't even noticed. I love Ghost Love Candy. It was pretty good. Did you play it yet? Really good for families. Ghost Love Candy is actually, I'm reviewing that this week. So you'll see that this week. Have you played Bees yet? I have not. When do Dice Tower Con tickets usually go on sale? Usually October, November. Don't worry, we'll really announce it when they do. Let's see. Any chance on doing a top 10 games to play in an airplane list? Probably not. Bring your iPad on an airplane. That's what I think. What kind of game would be best for a key lime pie theme? Oh, a piece of cake, of course. Will you be doing Gen Con previews this year? Yeah, we're going to be doing some Gen Con previews. Like I said, we'll be doing our top 10 games from Gen Con, but we'll be doing a little bit more than that. We'll also be posting our podcast probably a week from tomorrow, a Gen Con preview on the podcast too, but we'll also have some preview videos. Thoughts on designers with expansions ready but publishers not interested. For example, Libertalia. Hey, and a game has to sell before the publisher is going to put an expansion. I don't care if your expansion is amazing. The game itself has to sell first. What's your favorite ride at Disney World and Universal Studios? For Disney World, probably my favorite ride at Disney World. Oh, Big Thunder Mountain. And for Universal Studios, my favorite ride is probably The Curse of the Mummy. And let's see. I'm going to Gen Con this year. Is the last day fun, or is it like many cons where people are just mostly packing up and leaving? Well, every con is like that, right? But there's still a lot of buzz going on Sundays. I know for sure that I think they popped the balloon animal thingamabobber that day. There's a lot going on. Did Jason do a vlog for Dice Tower Con 2017? He did not, because he was only there for less than half the time, actually. He was running back and forth, flying from Miami. You think Near and Far replaces Above and Below? Well, it doesn't replace it for me because I didn't really like Above and Below that much. I thought it was okay. Near and Far I love. So I guess it replaces them, but I don't think they're similar enough that it matters. I've never played the chess-like game on Star Trek. When is your Too Many Bones review going up? This week. You guys are really good this week guessing the games that I'm going to be reviewing. How do you decide which games get a solo review versus Miami Dice? Well, that's pretty simple. Usually, if we've all played the game, or me and Sam have played the game, then it will likely get a Miami Dice. But we're always playing different games. Like a lot of games we don't even cross paths on now, just because of the way things are. So that's usually how we decide. Well, I just got Arcadia Quest and wonder what your favorite expansions for it are. Pets, by a mile. What's my favorite color to play in games? Purple, black, white. Then I don't care. Any recommendations on new games to look for at Gen Con? Hang on, we'll be doing our top 10 soon. Have you ever had a podcast segment where you and Eric couldn't stop laughing? Maybe, but if we ever did something like that, we would have left it on the air. If Splendor can be a multi-year bestseller, why can't King Domino? Jason seemed to think it was a blip on the radar, yet Spiel des Jahres. Well, I don't actually remember what Jason's thoughts are on it. But yeah, it won, and it will probably sell very well for the next few years. It's a game I think a lot of people are going to like. I think it will sell well. Do you do Q&A just for us, or do you really enjoy it yourself? I like doing it. If I didn't like doing Q&As, I don't think I would do them. I like doing every video on the Dice Tower. If I didn't like them, I wouldn't do them. The one video I'm not a huge fan of doing is Week in Review, because as odd as it seems, there's a lot of work that goes into Week in Review. But people do like that one, so I just muscle through it every week. Regarding the term content creator, do you think that this term devalues the work you do? Content is such a bland and ambiguous term. Literally anything can be content, as YouTube has shown. I don't know. I don't use that frame. I just tell people I'm a reviewer. I don't say I'm a content creator, but even if someone called me a content creator, I don't think I would be really upset by it. Does the expansion for Scythe make the game too long? I don't think so. I don't remember, but I heard someone say in one of your videos that you don't like Avalon, or at least not as much as Resistance. Why is that? I play Avalon all the time, but I have Resistance. Well, that's just not true, probably. If you watch my review for Avalon, you'll see that I like them. I couldn't decide which one to keep, so I kept both of them. Will there be songs at Gen Con? Come to Gen Con and see. What's the deal with the internet connection to the house? There's something wrong at the pole. They were telling me that there was, the frequency was wavering. So when they would do a test of the internet at our house, it looks like the internet's running fine. But the internet will stop every once in a while. And for streaming, that's awful. If you watched the streaming when we figured out there was a problem, there was like whole sentences that I was doing that were just missing. And so they have to have a technician come out and fix it. And it's problematic because I told Comcast that there was a problem. I said, you know, I called them up. I said, I got this problem. I said, well, test your speed. I said, I know I'm going to test it. It's going to be fine, but there's definitely a problem. When we're uploading and doing different things, it's really slow. We need to figure out what the problem is. They said, there's no problem. I said, can you send a technician out anyway? And they said, we can, but if he doesn't find a problem, I'm going to charge you $100. And I said, this is just so you know, if you ever wonder why no one likes Comcast, this is why. But they sent the guy out. Unfortunately, he found a problem. But then he said was going to send a technician, and then the technician never showed up. So I called again 10 days later. Oh, okay. And they sent out a guy. We don't really communicate with our technicians that well. The only reason we use Comcast for internet is because we have no choice. AT&T does not give us the speed at our house. Not like AT&T is a great company anyway, but like AT&T here at the house here is amazing. Comcast is the devil. I mean, they are of all the companies in America that I dislike them by far the most. I mean, with a seething rage. In fact, I was really close to programming the number on my phone. I was calling it the devil. And when I tell other people in technology, I'm like, yeah, I had to go with the devil. They're like, you signed with Comcast. Why would you want a reputation like that? That just boggles my mind. But anyway, I digress. Hopefully it will be fixed. Hopefully they're not watching this. Wait, are you guys doing a show at Gen Con? Well, we are. Looking at Gen Con events. We're doing a show. I believe there's like 140 tickets left. Actually, I'll just look it up now. So I go to Gen Con events. So you go to Gen Con, and there's a find event things here. And I'm involved in 2 different events. I always search for my name for Vassal. And there's Daystar Live, sponsored by Stronghold Games, video review, editing, tips, and tricks. So Daystar Live, sponsored by Stronghold Games. There's 1,200 seats available in total, and 128 are left, which means we sold 1,082. Not that we're not making money off these tickets. It's going to charity and paying for the Gen Con charges us for the room, but that is interesting. It'd be interesting if we sell out. That'd be pretty fun. But you still have a chance to sign up and come if you want. Let's see here. Stratego Legendary, did you care for it? You know, the first time I played it, I thought, wow, this is a really neat thing. But as time went by, I wasn't as impressed with it. Because you have to keep looking at the reference sheet to see what all the special abilities are. So it's a really neat idea. It just didn't come together well. The Star Wars Stratego was actually better. I like the content of the Star Wars Legendary, but Stratego Legendary, but just didn't do very well. Fantastic Four? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I'm talking about the Marvel movies made by Marvel. That Fox stuff, I'm not counting that at all, okay? I didn't even go watch the 2015 Fantastic Four. I'm talking about the ones in the Marvel Cinematic Universe with Captain America and all those gang. Are you getting a copy of The Seventh Continent for review? I don't know. I haven't got one yet. If I did, I'd be interested, I'm sure. But not every Kickstarter sends me games to review. Sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. I mean, I wouldn't even be able to handle it if they all sent it to me. So there's some really big Kickstarters that never sent me the game to review, but then a lot of these big Kickstarters don't care if they sell games after the Kickstarter's over anyway. So it's one and the same. I don't really get too upset over it. I don't get really too upset over any game that doesn't get sent. You know, it's kind of weird that how we have reviewed board games over the years. You know, when I first did it, I didn't even consider that review copies would show up. I just wanted to talk about games. And as time went by, a couple companies sent me review games, and I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. And I was like, ooh, I wonder if this company will send me games if I ask. And I would ask companies, and sometimes they would say no, and sometimes they would say yes. And as time went by, more and more of them said yes, and as time went by, I stopped asking. I figured if they're gonna send me a game, or they're not gonna send me a game. And so if a company doesn't send me a game, and it's a really big game, we might go out of our way to hunt down a copy. Like, I didn't get sent Too Many Bones, for example, but one of the guys in my network gave it to me to review and play. So that's the only reason I got that one. I didn't get the company that sent it to me. Any tips before playing your first game of Terraforming Mars? Don't play with 5 players. Am I planning to review any of the Runebound expansions? No, I don't have Runebound. Expansion is always a tricky thing. You have to have the game. You know, I just got a Star Wars Rebellion expansion in, And I was like, oh, yeah, let's try it. Oh, wait, I don't even have Star Wars Rebellion because Sam has it, so there was no reason for me to have it. Because if I ever play it, I'm probably going to play it with Sam. I'm planning on attending the Dice Tower meetup this weekend at Cool Stuff. What's the best time to show up to play a game or at least say hi to the Dice Tower guys? If you want to play a game with me, your best chance is to be there at like 10:55 a.m. It opens at 11 a.m. because I'm always there early. And that's the best time to jump in a game with me because there's so few people show up early. Most people show up 12, 1, 2. But I'm there playing games right away. Do you like roll and write games? I do. Do you have a favorite? Probably Roll in America or Roll in Japan or something like that. What is Jimmy into these days? Everything. I haven't played the new Rolls for Vast yet. How can I make sure Vernon has my address for Gloomhaven Miniatures, and how are you auctioning? When are you auctioning the hammer? For the Gloomhaven, if you did something with the auction at DicetowerCon, email me at dicetower@gmail.com. For the hammer, I'm going to probably auction it at the Board Game Geek Jack Vassal auction, which happens in October to November, somewhere around that time. Best place to eat at Gen Con? Well, St. Elmo's for sure, but you will pay for that. But it is easily the best place. Is Dice Tower associated with a particular FL-friendly local game store? Well, we're associated with Cool Stuff, and they definitely have 5 local game stores, and they will have a 6th one eventually. Tommy, you once answered one of my live chat questions and said Uwe specifically told you there'd be no expansions. Caverna, has he changed his mind? I'm not sure what's going on there. From what I understand, maybe someone else is designing the expansion. What game would you pick for a friendly household con tournament? I wouldn't, but I would place it like Pitch Car. But tournaments just never end well for me. I always find that somebody gets their feelings hurt. Have you tried the latest Deckscape? No, I have it, but I haven't played it yet. Tom, what's the reason for the lecture about games this last breakfast? You've mentioned it before, but there's so many good games. Why the repeat? I apologize. I don't actually know what you're talking about because I talked about the viral marketing for Raxon and things like that, but I don't remember. I don't know. You'll have to go in more detail what I meant. I apologize. Will you be going to Grand Con in September? I will. PAX Unplugged? I will. Can you do a top 10 most difficult co-op list? That's interesting because I think if I ever did such a list, and actually it's a very interesting thing to do. If I ever did such a list, I think I would have to do it based on a normal setting of the game. Because there's a lot of games where you can crank up the difficulty to 11. But like a normal, like Pandemic at normal difficulty is not as hard as Ghost Stories is at normal difficulty. You know, there's different games with different levels of difficulty. That'd be an interesting one. I might do that at some point. When will the Dice Tower 2018 be? I believe Dice Tower 2018 is July 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Those dates. Have you tried Power Grid, the card game? I have not, but I don't think I will because it just kind of went under the radar. Yeah, I caught Jason in the hallway at Dice Tower Con on the phone fixing problems at work. He was dedicated to being at Dice Tower Con and was still there for work. Yes, it was kind of a bummer for him, and his big thing is just ending this week, and he's so glad because he's finally. I had him over to play games on Sunday, and he was just glad to finally get in and play some games. You like doing videos with Jason? No, I hate it. Of course, I like doing stuff with Jason. Let's see here. Thank you for all the people who are saying very nice things to us. What are your suggestions of things to do at Gen Con once the vendor hall closes? Well, eat, for one. and then just wander around. There's a huge gaming hall that has all kinds of gaming going on at night. I'm usually too tired to sit down and play games, but there's a gazillion different people demoing games and stuff. That's what I would go. Since starting the Dice Tower, what has been the longest you have went without playing a board game? If you mean like since I went working full-time for the Dice Tower, it probably hasn't been more than a week. I'll always find some game somewhere, I think. Honesty is important, so how do you teach kids games that involve some manner of bluffing, deception, or outright lying? I always start out by saying, hey, lying is wrong in real life. It's just a game. We're going to be silly and have fun. Lots of things happen in games, like I extort people for money in games, and soldiers will shoot each other in games, but these are not things that we would promote in real life. Most kids are pretty good. It's the same kind of thing where people say that video games promote violence and cause people to be violent. I'm not sure I agree with that either. And so it's the same kind of thing here. Let's see here. Can you think of any other game that has spawned a number of sanctioned and unsanctioned formats? I'm going to move this here to the middle so that when I look at the questions, it looks like I'm looking at you. Okay. Can you think of any other game that has spawned a number of sanctioned or unsanctioned formats like Magic the Gathering has? Like Commander and Pauper? Maybe, I don't know. There's lots of games that have spawned all sorts of things. Why do you think Gen Con sold out this year? Oh, I think you're saying it's why. I think it was really close to selling out anyway, and this is the 50th anniversary, so a lot of people said this is the year I'm going to go. That's what I think. What's my favorite meal to cook? Stew? I haven't done that in a while. I need to get around to doing that. Anywhere in the reprint of Java from Yellow? I don't know. I don't know that Java would go over that well. It's a deep, involved game. It's a very good game, but I don't know how many it would sell, and that does matter. What distinguishes Dice Tower Cruise from Dice Tower Con? Well, one's on a boat, but Dice Tower Cruise is, especially now, is way more intimate than the convention is. Convention is great, don't get me wrong, but it's possible to go to convention and like see me once the whole time. But if you go on the cruise, you're going to see me a lot more than that. There's a lot more chance that there's a chance we play games with the Dice Tower guys and things like that. And also, it's just so easygoing. Make all drugs illegal, but make them only. I'm assuming you're saying make all drugs legal, but only make them available through Comcast customer service. There'd be a lot of dead people then. That would not be good. Have you received a copy of Anachrony? I have not. How different does a game have to be, in your opinion, to be its own game mechanics-wise? For example, Agricola and Caverna, Race for the Galaxium Jump Drive, Among the Stars and Fields of Green. I don't know. I just call them as I see them. I don't really put things. Anyone have any clue on when we could see a price drop on King of Tokyo? How much does King of Tokyo cost? So let's look at cool stuff. 32 bucks. That's pretty good. That's a good deal. You're going to play King of Tokyo a gazillion times. I'm a little confused as to why you're waiting for a price drop, but who knows? It's really popular. They said Cruise. Let's see here. What's your favorite game with a regular deck of 52 cards? Hearts. Do you play games without thinking about work, or all games you play are on the clock? Always on the clock. I think about, even if I played the game a gazillion times, I think about reviewing it or re-reviewing it or anything. Just what I do. Is it reasonable to introduce people to paperback by saying it's as if Scrabble Dominion had a baby? It is if they played both those games, but they might not have, so I'd be careful. Are you going to do a playthrough of Pandemic Legacy Season 2 like you did for Season 1? My friends don't want to play it, so I really like your first season videos. Probably. Is the Origins live show going up? It is not. We are missing some files for that, so it's just not going up. I apologize. But we have the audio version of it. How much is it for Dice Tower Cruise per person? I apologize. I don't know that off the top of my head. If Jason was here, he would answer it. But you can go to DicetowerCruise.com and check it out. So I would encourage you to do that as quickly as possible. How much of the Slack chat conversations do you read? Not all of them. I only read a few of them, honestly, because I'm very involved with a lot of other things, and I just don't check Slack as much as I probably should. How directly or indirectly did your parents get you into board games? Very directly. They played board games with us, and that's how I got into them. How much input did you have on Mechs vs. Minions? I would highly minimize my input on it. Unfortunately, as an exhibitor, I've not got my badge info, so I can't get tickets until day one. I have my badge info as an exhibitor. I could get tickets if I want, so I don't know. Maybe I would check with Gen Con to see. The Consumerist consistently ranks Comcast as the worst company for consumer help in America every year in their yearly rankings. I am not surprised. I am mind-boggled at how bad they are. Why do you think trick-taking games are so popular this year? I don't know. I think there's an ebb and flow to these type of things. Right? Trick-taking games were very popular in the 90s, and now they're coming back in vogue. I think it's just things rise and fall like that. Do you remember how many subscribers you had when you started receiving games from producers to review? Yeah, 0, because back then I was writing reviews. So I mean, nowadays, let's say, I think you're asking like what you should expect. Right now, it's really tough to be a reviewer because there are so many. I mean, there are so many reviewers out there. On YouTube, there are probably 100 board game reviewers, and they're all vying for the games, right? Or that I can imagine. I work with different companies, and I know that some of these companies get a request for a review copy every day, consistently, more than every day for some companies. And you know, I always tell people when you start a review, you should never go into it looking for review copies. I still won't even look for the review copies. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's neat, and it's sure because of they start being what it is. It saves us a lot of money, considering we're reviewing 20, 25 games a week. That'd be really tough to do if we were buying all those games. But like what subscriber numbers? I don't know. I wouldn't even know how to gauge that. It would have to be a different audience and other people. But I don't know. I don't know if that's what you're asking, but that's the thing. Do you consider Rahdo a reviewer? I do. I know he says that he's not a reviewer, and he says that, but I mean, he goes over all the points of a game, then tells you his opinion on it, and I consider it a review because that is what I do. So if he's not a reviewer, then neither am I. And it's fine. I mean, it's all semantical, right? So if he doesn't want people looking as a reviewer, that's certainly his prerogative. So I don't think it's a big deal. What were your kids' favorite games or moments at the con? They were playing in the hopper room and the kids' game room, but I don't really know much more than that. They had a good time. There was a swimming pool. Why don't you wear ties anymore? Well, it's partially when I record. I used to record Board Game Breakfast, for example, all the time on Sundays when I was already wearing a tie. But it's Florida and ties are hot here. I wear ties, but not as much as I used to. How early do you usually book housing for Gen Con? Well, it's different for everyone, right? You have to wait till the exhibitor portal opens up or the housing portal opens up, and then you try to get in, right? Do you know of any people that are leaving the video game scene and going into the board game scene because of the DRM that many larger video game companies put in their games? No, I haven't heard of anyone doing it for that reason. Hi Tom, you guys tend to be on the casual side of gaming, and that's great. Who would you recommend for ultra-competitive gamers to watch reviews and strategy? I wouldn't recommend anyone in that regard. I really, really, really dislike that end of the thing. I think games should be fun. And I don't begrudge someone for wanting to read and become better at a game. That's fine, but I wouldn't know where to look for that because I don't do it myself. I think gaming is just a cat. I just don't have fun competitive gaming. I was impressed that 5 Minute Dungeon went straight from Kickstarter success to retail at Target. Have other games done this in the past? many games have gone straight from Kickstarter or whatever to success in the stores. Cards Against Humanity did and such. Other ones probably have done that too. Have you been to the Rathscowers in Indianapolis? I have. It's good. Yes. You still watch Adventure Time? You know, I kind of fell out of watching Adventure Time, not for any reason. I just stopped watching it, and I didn't get back into it, but that's because I don't watch a lot of TV to begin with. My kids were watching something on Hulu, and I saw them watching. I was like, wow, it really looks a little bit like Adventure Time. A little bit different, though. It looked like SpongeBob art, where it was like Princess somebody or other. Was it this princess? It was really weird, and I was watching it, and I was thinking, wow, this is very similar. This is like more for adults than for kids. My kids thought it was funny, but I was kind of, I don't know, it looked like it had an ongoing storyline. I only watched like 10 minutes of it, but it's like, I was thinking maybe I would go watch it later on. Just curious about it. Glad you liked Chameleon. By the way, for Shut the Doors, we really need more people to say Shut the Door on our podcast. So if you're at Gen Con, we're definitely going to be sending a camera around looking for people to say Shut the Door. How often do you do crossover reviews? For instance, you and Z both reviewed Jump Drive. I rarely do a crossover review because we just don't have time to do that. But sometimes I'll review a game because I'm adding it to my collection. And if I ever add a game to my collection and one of the other guys reviewed it, I am going to review it myself because I want people to know how much I liked it. So that's why you saw Jump Drive get reviewed. That's why you'll see Photosynthesis get reviewed later on. In your latest top 10, you mentioned Mega Games. Can you define that a little more? Mega Games like a giant role-playing game almost of sorts, like a military role-playing game. Eric and I are actually going to be talking about that in our next podcast, not the one coming out. The podcast that's coming out 2 weeks from tomorrow. We'll be talking about Mega Games. I'm really looking forward to the 10 games that replace series for classic games. Well, let's see what you think of it tomorrow. The first one goes up. Top 10 games better than Monopoly, or replace Monopoly. And then the game of life. Next week I'll be doing Scrabble and Uno. And people will probably disagree with me on a lot of these and such. But hopefully I've made some decent choices. I'm actually putting a lot of work into the games I picked for these. Sagrada or Role Player? They're both good, but I would pick Role Player. I feel like Role Player has more freedom and options in it. Who was filming for the Flip Ships review? That was my daughter, Amy. What happened was me and Jason were going to review it at my house, and I brought the camera and everything, and we didn't have we brought a camera that didn't have a piece to fit on the tripod, so we had no way to put it on the tripod. So I said, Amy, just hold it, and hopefully it won't be too bad. How much do you and your kids like Beast of Balance? Oh man, this is spoilers, I guess, but soon I'll be doing Crowd Surfing is coming out Wednesday, and Beast of Balance is my pick of the week. I just love Beast of Balance. Is there Magic the Gathering at Gen Con? Oh yeah, lots of it. If I wanted to work for the Dice Tower, what would be my first step? Well, I understand a lot of people would like to do it. It's just, first of all, I don't have any money to hire anybody right now. And secondly, your first step would basically be meet us at a convention, maybe. Yeah, unfortunately, the Dice Tower runs on a very, very tight budget, so we're not hiring anybody right now for sure. If Dice Tower Cruise keeps happening year after year, will it stay in early December, or could it drift down the calendar to when kids are on school vacation? I can't promise when and where it will be. I honestly picked the Dice Tower Cruise to match my schedule. So that's a lot of what has to do with it, because when we don't want to run up against holidays for a lot of different reasons. Holidays in December are a much bigger deal. But How much attention do you pay to game prices when reviewing games? I keep an eye on it a little bit, but I don't put a lot of emphasis on it because, first of all, the review needs to be timely. If you're looking at the review 10 years from now, the price is not going to even matter anymore. And secondly, as Z always says, if a game's too expensive or not is really up to you. Sometimes I'll mention if it's a really cheap price or really expensive price, but not very often. Do you think a company has stopped sending you games after a bad review of another game they made? Oh, I know this has happened. In fact, I may have mentioned it earlier in this live Q&A. It is what it is. I got a company, there is a specific company that has stopped sending me reviews because I gave their game a 6 out of 10. And I said, that was good. And they're like, yeah, but it wasn't great. And they stopped sending me review copies. It is what it is. I think it's more important that we review games straight up. And it's really interesting because we trash games sometimes, and I'll have publishers come up and talk to me about it at conventions. It's easier to be a reviewer who loves everything at a convention because the publishers will talk to you about your negative reviews and give you the stink eye. I had a publisher at Justice Origins. One publisher, I saw them and I was like, hey, and they were like, and just walked right by me. And I mean, what can I do? Man, and I hate that because I don't like when people don't like me. I guess some people thrive on that, but I don't like it. And that bothers me a bit, but I can't let it, I have to let it roll off my back to some degree. Oh, Derek says he found the video for Origins. Well, great. Then we will post the Origins live show. But I don't know when. I'll talk to Derek about that tomorrow. Is the crowdsurfing segment weekly? No, it's bi-weekly. So it's this week. Boo, Tom, Slack is great. No, I'm not saying Slack is bad. Slack is amazing. But I have several Slack groups that I keep on my schedule. I mean, I have a Slack group for my family, and I'm constantly checking that, and a Slack group for the Dice Tower and everyone involved with the Dice Tower. And then there's a Dice Tower audience, and I just don't follow that one as much because it moves really fast. And again, I know these things are great, but I think people forget sometimes how much social media pulls from actually, being productive. And I'm much more, and people say, how do you get so many reviews done? Because I don't spend forever on Twitter and Facebook and all these other places. Use the same ISP for your home and studio? No, actually I'm using two very different ones. The Dice Tower Award winners receive golden trophies. No, they get certificates. We were thinking about making a nice Dice Tower for them. We did that one year, but we'll see. When you play games, does it feel like work, or do you find you enjoy them? I enjoy them even when the game is bad. Jason Kenny and Melody played a game this past weekend that was just awful. But I enjoyed it, even though it was really bad. No, I don't mean Rick and Morty. That's not the cartoon I'm talking about. It was like a Princess something or other cartoon. Oh, actually, I could probably pull up Hulu and look at my viewing, like what I've been watching lately, and see. There it is. What's it called? Star vs. the Forces of Evil. I know nothing about it, but watching my kids watch it, I thought, that looks interesting. So maybe it's not, but that's the cartoon I'm talking about. Are you, Sam, or Z attending any small convention gatherings this year? Yeah, we're going to. Me and Z will be at Grand Con. I'm excited. In news, we are starting to work on our second studio. Our first studio is finished where we do the, well, not finished, but it's functional. The second one where we're going to be doing top 10s eventually. And we got a new table in there, and we start putting up sound paneling today, and we're working on lighting. And over the next 2 months, we'll be getting that one together. What does the industry need right now? I don't know. I think the industry's doing really well. It needs some more streamlining, probably. Let's see here. I play a double deck of Jump Drive. That seems good for 8 players. Oof. Oof. You could play Jump Drive with 8, but I don't know. I'm really happy with it. Honestly, I never understand why people always want to make games bigger for more players. If I have 8 players, I'll be like, we'll play a 4-player game. You guys play a 4-player game. But hey, if you enjoy that, fantastic. Did you record the Time Stories Lumen Fide? Yes, that's going up this week on our channel. You seem to play the villain in games such as Empires, Rebellion, or the Overlord. If there's a possibility to play the villain, I always do. I don't know why. I just think it's fun. How do you decide which games stay in your collection when it's overflowing? I get rid of the ones I play the least, the ones I like less than the others, even if I love them. You can make those calls. Do you think Gray Fox will ever do a family version of Deception Murder in Hong Kong, like a church's board game club? I don't think so. I don't think that will happen. Do you like Godfather Corleone's Empire? What rating would you give this game? I do. In our review, I said I loved it. I give it an 8. I really enjoyed it. Added it to my collection. When does the People's Choice Top 100 Games pool be? That'll be later this year. Have you read the novel Thrawn? No, I have not. I probably should, though. I've been reading a lot of other stuff. Right now, I'm rereading the Honor Harrington series, and there's like 13 books in that series currently, and I'm just finished book 2. So, but I'll read about 1 book a week, so I'll get through it pretty quickly. Nice dollhouse in the background. Thanks. It's mine. How many expansions and extras did you get for Too Many Bones? Well, I believe I got the Kickstarter version. Again, it was from someone in my network who gave it to me. Very nice of them. And so I think I got pretty much everything, but there's a lot just in the base game itself. Do you see other board game reviewers on YouTube as competition to the Dice Tower channel or simply other gamers? Well, I think the answer to that question is yes. They're definitely competition. Anyone who says that reviewers aren't competition that's really not the case. People can only watch so many channels, and companies can only send out so many games. But it's mostly not that. That's not a big deal. It's the people are only going to watch so many things. So I would prefer people to watch me over someone else. But it should be friendly competition. The other people who are doing videos and stuff on YouTube, we're friends with most of them, and so we're competition, but that doesn't mean that we don't talk and get together and discuss stuff. What's your favorite basic class in Gloomhaven? The Spellcaster, I think that's what it's called. Do you think the Upper Deck Legendary mechanics would go well with Jurassic Park theme? Why not? They're doing it with everything else. I tell you, that is my least interesting announcement that comes out at Gen Con at this point. Upper Deck's going to announce something legendary, and I'm going to be like, who cares? There's so much Marvel Legendary, I will be able to play it forever if they never release another expansion. But they will release more expansions, and I will get them and play them because I love the game. That's fine. But if they announce Legendary Jurassic Park, I'd be like, oh, okay. It just, there's only so many times I can play that same game system. What is the little tube wireless microphone used when filming live games? I don't know what you mean by that. By the way, I've been teasing this, but we are making an announcement at Gen Con on the Dice Tower live show there. Something that's going to change the future of the Dice Tower somewhat dramatically. Not, I mean, not. I gotta be careful because I don't want to make it bigger than it is. But I think it's a pretty cool thing that's going to happen. We're going to make a dramatic change in some form or fashion on some part of the Dice Tower network. That's all I can say. Let's see. Will you be at PAX Unplugged? We will be. In fact, I was just working on an aspect of PAX Unplugged today. Do you ever hear from game developers mad over a review you've done? Oh yes, I've gotten some very, very long emails from people who are upset about our reviews. It is what it is. Sometimes someone says, I notice you don't have a review. Someone said, hey, for Wrath of Sharlan, and it lives behind your reviews. What's up with that? Someone asked that last week, but Wrath of Sharlan, PGG, and I pull it up here, and pull up the game here, and I'm Board Game Geek, and I look at my rating, and I see an 8 there. So I don't know why you're saying I don't have it rated, because I do. But if I don't have a rating, then I feel like this exact same question was asked last time, maybe, but whatever. If you say I don't have a rating, you can always send me an email. I try to rate all the games that I've played. Have you considered breaking up long videos such as Board Game Breakfast, like pulling out the news segments and having a daily news brief like articles you post on the site? Probably not. I'm really happy with Board Game Breakfast the way it is. What do you do with games that you remove from your collection? I take them all to Dice Tower Con. So I keep them in my garage in boxes. And this year we had 45 boxes that we took up with us. It was a ton of games. I am already up to 1.5 boxes for next year already. Let's see here. When does the gateway to board gaming close? When will the prize be awarded? Is that one of the contests running on Board Game Breakfast? I don't know what you're talking about. You will all shave your facial hair. No, it's a more substantial change than that, I think. Why does it bother you, Z, and Sam to teach big games at conventions? I don't think it bothers me. I think this is a throwaway comment that I made somewhere. It's just that it's exhausting to do that, right? So I don't mind teaching games. I love teaching games. I run around, oh, I'll teach this. And then I see some people play War of the Ring, and I'm like, whew, that's almost work teaching that game. And I love teaching games a lot, but I would have to be looking in the rule book half the time. And if I know the game off the top of my head, that's easy to teach, but a bigger, longer game is a harder one. That's all. This whole Gen Con announcement thing makes me nervous. Oh, no, don't be nervous. When are you guys reviewing First Martians? When we get it, we don't have the game yet, so we did a first impression, so we'll get it. I assume we'll review it after Gen Con at this point. You skip too many questions. Well, I didn't skip that one. You're right, I do skip a lot of questions. I don't answer all the questions. I apologize about that. No, I don't apologize about that. No, I'm not sorry. I'm just trying to pick questions that will be interesting. You think Strike is just playing marbles with dice? That's a good description of it. Yes. Is there another place besides Kickstarter to fund game development? Well, there's Indiegogo. What rating does a game have to receive to send your collection? It has nothing to do with it. It has to do with how often the game will get played. If you can see, there's games behind me. I think you can see some of them, right? Yeah, you can see these games here. Many of these games I don't have rated an 8, but my kids like them, so they're going to stay in my collection. What is the wireless mic you use in the filming of Pandemic Legacy? Oh, those were wireless mics that we used. They were Bluetooth mics that came with that were sold by Canon that matched those cameras. I don't know what they are. We don't use those any longer. Now they're replacing Tom as a Dice Tower vassal. No. Melody is a year from college. So you will only have Melody, you're only going to see Melody on the channel for probably another year, and then you might see her intermittently while she's at college, but she'll be very busy there, I'm sure. My daughter Maya is asking, did you used to play Legos as a kid? I still play with Legos. But yes, I did it as a kid too. Will there be promos for Merry Men at Gen Con? I don't know. That's a good question. I have no idea, actually. Is there any chance of Mrs. Vassal showing up on a playthrough? I don't know, maybe, but she doesn't really like being on camera, so I don't want to make her do things she doesn't like doing. You know, one of the things someone mentioned, I saw a game in an unboxing video, you're going to review it soon. That was one of my fears when starting these board unboxing videos. They're fun to do, right? And they're easy to do. But my fear is that people will see the game and go, why haven't you reviewed it yet? But we review games in our own time schedule. We really do. So sometimes a game will come in, it will sit there for months just because no one wants to review it. But, you know, here's what it is. How do you review an expansion for a game that you haven't kept in your collection? I borrowed the game from Jason. Could you say hello to my sons Kira and Sola in Japan? Hello. Biggest comeback you didn't see coming in a game you played? Oh, I've seen it before, but it's not striking me. I don't remember it off the top of my head. Any advice for new podcasters? Try to be different than everybody else out there. Try to have your own shtick, because everyone's going to have their own thing that they're doing. Who provided the giant Bang the Dice game at Dice Tower? I think they just printed it out 3D. Is it your mic that picks up too much bass in your voice for most videos? I haven't met you in person, so just curious if anyone has mentioned anything about it. No one has ever mentioned anything about my voice being too full of bass, so I always have people tell me that my voice is too high, so I'm not really sure what you're talking about. A channel with... Well, let's see. What's your favorite hobby outside of working gaming? Music. Oh, anyhow. I've been playing nowadays. My biggest thing that I do besides board games is Zelda Breath of the Wild. Holy moly, is that game fun! So much fun. I'm so excited. I'm doing well in it. I'm getting better. Today I beat a Lionel for the first time and found out that I probably could have beat it last week, but I've been kind of running scared from them. Decided to meet one face to face and then whooped it, so then immediately went and whooped up on another one. It wasn't the easiest of battles, but wow, the game is amazing. Amazing. I love it. Let's see. Spirit Island or Catan? I'll go with Spirit Island, but they're not really the same at all. I wouldn't even really compare them at all. And with that, I believe it is 11 o'clock. That has been an hour of Q&As. So I do appreciate you guys coming on. 10 o'clock is a really good time for me, I guess. I was just falling asleep. We were watching America's Got Talent. I was dozing and the kids were yelling at who the judges were picking and not picking. But anyhow, I'm awake now. Of course, I'm about to go to bed. I'm excited. I am every day. My schedule these days is work on the reviews and things in the morning, and then in the afternoon, prepare for Gen Con. Lots of prepping for Gen Con, but we're getting there. And like I said, some really exciting things are on the horizon. I mean, I'm so excited about some of the stuff that's happening. So anyway, until next time, I'm Tom Vassal. And let me see, I'm going to pop the chat back in here so that we can say goodbye. Anyway, I'm Tom Vassal, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. See you next time. I'm tired. Yeah, I know you're tired, but, you know, it's been a long day. Oh, hello. Hello. We don't get to talk very much. I know. There's always the other people watching us. I'm watching you. Listen, we're trying to make a deal here. And I know I look like an old elephant, and I'm not friends with anybody, but get out. I'm not intimidated by you. I'm working with the Bear Clan. Well, I'd like to apologize. What are you apologizing about? Well, first of all, are you kidding? Are you still listening? Do you want to fight? You want to fight? Okay, we don't have much time. He's going to bring his friends. But we have to make the meeting. I know. Gangrene said you're not supposed to meet here. Now, you got to pretend to be cute. You got to pretend like you don't know anything, like you always do. And the bear's going to come back. Now, I know he looks like he was just a brute that came by, but we have to be careful. Hey, I have a quick question for you guys. All right, I'll do what I can. This guy is a bit of a bore. We got to do whatever we can to get rid of him. Okay. I'm sorry, I could not hear you. Do you like Agricola? Oh, I love Agricola. Okay, we'll have to get rid of him this way. Agricola, what's your favorite part? Oh, I love how hard it is and how it makes me feel like I'm having a terrible time the whole time. Oh, yes. Would you jump off this cliff? Yes. See, it's pretty easy to get rid of people who like Agricola. Yeah. I see. I agree. Hello! Ooh! She's so scary. Oh, that's okay. She's from a reality show. Oh, Jersey? Yeah, how did you guess? Well, anyway, why are so many people coming up? Tell my wife I loved her. Why did you do that? Listen, honey, I have no tolerance for this. We know you guys have been spying on us for months now. Don't even try that nonsense with me. Don't even tell me. Pretend you're a cute little cat. You saw me just kill that elephant. Do you want to be next? Meow. This is your last chance. Tell me now, where is Gangrene hiding? What? Get away from here, baby. Oh my. Now listen. Run while you have a chance. I'll hold them off here. But you're just a baby. I'm not a baby. I'm 84 years old. I've been doing this before you were born, kid. Now run. Tell Gangrene they're coming. I'll dispose of the body. Okay. You want me? You can come and get me.